These are a new breed of Afghan warriors. They carry no Kalashnikovs or other firearms. Their metal detectors are their most treasured possession. Every day they face the silent killers that litter their country, landmines. Afghanistan has endured 16 years of war. First, the Soviet Union invaded and laid down mine belts. When the Soviets withdrew, Afghan factions mined cities and villages. All in all, 10 million mines are scattered across 400 square kilometers of the country. People returning to the capital, Kabul, confront minefields that crisscross neighborhoods. UNOCHA, or the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Assistance to Afghanistan, has the biggest demining program in the world, consisting of mine awareness, training, mapping surveys and mine clearance. Non-governmental agencies, NGOs, are the key to success, says Program Manager Ian Mansfield.
These NGOs are nearly all Afghan staff, and they have activities in 3 countries, Afghanistan, Iran and Pakistan. And in these 8 NGOs, we employ almost 3,000 Afghan men. So we're a big source of employment in war-torn Afghanistan. We provide a salary which is good by local standards, and we never have any shortage of people wanting to come and work for us in our program.
This heavily mined area is on the campus of the University of Kabul. It's just meters away from a busy street. Both mine surveys and demining are being accelerated. Red-painted rocks indicate mines. Tahsin Dispadak, demining manager for Kabul, points out danger areas.
As you can see, red circled area shows potentially mine area and most probably unexploded ordnance area.
Every morning a survey team collects field information. Reference or benchmark points are marked and recorded. In the afternoon, maps are prepared. It's vital to precisely chart minefields to guide the deminer's task. The most efficient method of clearing mines is the manual technique. A 2-man team called a breaching party works in 2-meter lanes, keeping at least 10 meters apart from each other. First, the detector man checks the area. If there is a reading, he marks the exact place. The prodder man moves forward and the detector man moves back. The work requires the utmost concentration. The teams work 6 hours a day. The prodder lays down and starts removing the earth at the identified point. The reading might have been caused by metal parts, unexploded ordnance, or a mine. When the mine is located, it's destroyed in situ. In this area, 2 mines are found next to each other. Deminers prepare to explode the mines while a man gives a warning signal. A medical evacuation team stands by at all times. It consists of a doctor, medics and an ambulance. A nurse is on duty to administer first aid. But work-related injuries are something that these men have taken in their stride. Mohammed Marbi has suffered a leg injury.
I'm not afraid of the work, even if I've been injured. If I'm scared, I would not have chosen to clear mines.
At the end of the working day, deminers get ready to return to their accommodation. They live in tented camps, which are totally mobile. The deminers can be deployed quickly, anytime and anywhere they're needed. There's time for recreation, and UNOCHA also provides English and literacy classes. Some write home. The deminers are away from their families 2 months at a time. The program is almost entirely run by Afghans themselves. With $20 million every year, UNOCHA hopes to clear 118 square kilometers of priority areas within 4 years. Clearing mines is more than a matter of saving life and limb. It's an essential part of reconstructing a country.
For the past several months, fighting has stopped in Afghanistan's capital, Kabul. But hospitals are busier than ever now, dealing with the deadly legacy of a long war. Victims of landmines. One casualty is 10-year-old Ramat.
I was walking home. Another child picked up a mine and it exploded. 3 children were killed.
14-year-old Maimuna can still manage a shy smile.
I was walking towards my aunt's house. I saw an object and I stepped on it. I didn't know it was a mine.
Throughout Afghanistan, relief workers report up to 200 mine injuries a day. As these patients demonstrate, mines do not discriminate between kids or adults, or even with skilled mine clearers like this one, recently wounded on the job. UNHCR monitors the return of Afghans to Kabul. 1,000 people a day cross the border from Jalalabad and Peshawar to confront a nightmare scenario. Neighborhoods infested with mines and homes destroyed by factional fighting. More than 32 different species of anti-personnel mines have been identified. As injury rates increase, high priority is given to mine awareness training. In Afghanistan, the UN, through non-governmental agencies, mounts public education campaigns in schools and through mass media. Ziauddin, who lost his leg during a bombardment, teaches kids not only about the dangers of mines, but also unexploded ordnance, or UXOs.
I tell the kids that they should pass on whatever they learn about mines to their family, playmates, and friends.
Together with mine awareness campaigns, clearing operations in Kabul have been accelerated due to the influx of returnees. The most efficient method is still the manual technique. Over 100 mine-detecting dogs are also used in the program. A dog's sense of smell is up to 1,000 times more sensitive than mechanical devices. When a dog sniffs a possible mine, it's trained to sit near the suspicious buried object until signaled to move by its handler. In addition to mines, the enormous problem of UXOs and rockets are also dealt with. Once the UXOs are diffused, they're transported in one place and destroyed after the customary warning signals. The demining program also uses flail machines, but these have had very limited success according to demining program manager Ian Mansfield.
It's very difficult to operate any mechanical equipment in Afghanistan. It's difficult to get spare parts, clean fuel. Often it's very hot and dusty, or it's cold with snow and ice on the ground. So they're very harsh operating conditions for any machine. So they've been subject to sort of regular breakdown and mechanical difficulties.
The UN is mobilizing world public opinion to support the total ban on the production, use and sale of landmines. The UN Secretary General has also urged scientists to develop more effective demining technologies. With more than 110 million landmines scattered across 64 countries, nations are joining together to combat this most deadly of silent killers. A scene straight out of Armageddon? Not quite. This is Kabul, Afghanistan's capital, where more than a decade of civil war has reduced much of the city to ashes. Hardest hit were the southern and eastern districts where the fiercest fighting took place. Of some 1 million inhabitants in the city, at least 2/3 have been displaced from their homes. Most have fled, sought refuge in public buildings or moved in with relatives. Now that peace has returned, the Kabul local government and community groups are mobilizing to make the city habitable again. High on the agenda is helping families who have returned to the worst devastated areas. Solid waste has been cleared in the old city. This is done by the municipality with the help from the UN Center for Human Settlements, Habitat. Accumulated waste was caused by bombing of buildings and trenches built by factions at the height of the fighting. Many unskilled laborers are needed for the cleanup. Following the example of his elders, this little boy does his share of cleaning up. Most of UN Habitat's work in Kabul are joint ventures, according to engineer Salim Qayyum.
We have sanitation activity with the municipality share, and district office and community participation. We have also some local worker teams in local places.
In other parts of the city, community leaders take advantage of the UN's Food for Work program to dig drainage systems. These workers recently returned home from Iran and Pakistan. Jam Ali, a community leader, has hired 60 workers to clear 3 sites.
We get people without jobs. By working, they can look forward to food on the table for the next few days.
Abdul Qayyum considers himself lucky. He owned a bakery and was able to save money. Even though his house was completely destroyed, he has enough resources to rebuild. He is sad that so many are in desperate conditions.
Without water, without help, people are suffering. They need assistance to get back on their feet.
Because of growing risks of communicable diseases, relief agencies are improving water supplies in the city. UN Habitat has commissioned the manufacture of low-cost hand pumps from local workshops, simple enough to be maintained by the people. This locally made hand pump costs only $90. It taps shallow water resources that will provide this community with clean water. It's a good substitute for traditional shallow wells, which are not protected from contamination. But improving the physical infrastructure of the city barely scratches the surface of trying to recover communities. The trauma of war is more difficult to heal, according to Habitat Program Manager Jolyon Leslie.
If we can bring people together to organize themselves to receive assistance, it will be a very significant step in the path of then gaining self-reliance, feeling they're in control of their lives again, and therefore, to some extent, building trust and, in time, building peace.
Getting Kabul back on its feet is a massive job, but local leadership and self-help in rebuilding urban communities is vital. A message that will be underscored at the second UN Conference on Human Settlements, slated for Istanbul, Turkey in June 1996.
Every mother wants to bring up a healthy child, but in war-ravaged Afghanistan, the odds of a baby surviving are not good. 25% of Afghan infants die before the age of 5. A bombed-out building in Kabul, Afghanistan's capital. Mothers and babies crowd an emergency mini-healthcare centre set up by UNICEF. With the total collapse of the primary healthcare system, infants are succumbing to easily treatable diseases such as respiratory infections and diarrhea. There are 46 of these mini-health centres in Kabul. They're part of UNICEF's emergency programme to help infants under 5 years old. Displaced families particularly are also suffering from the impact of extreme poverty. Ghulam Rasul Tashi is UNICEF's assistant project officer in Kabul.
We found about from 30 to 40% of the children malnourished here in Kabul city. This is due to the blockage of the route, because all the routes coming to Kabul were blocked.
Rukia, a 31-year-old mother of 5, brings her youngest Zarmina to the centre. The doctor weighs her and measures her arm. Zarmina's middle arm circumference is only 12 centimetres and she tips the scales at only 6 kilos. Dr. Taj Mohammed says she's severely malnourished.
The mother has 5 children, born one after the other. The children do not get proper nutrition.
The doctor gives Rukia a ration of BP5 compressed food, high-protein biscuits. To check the children are eating the food, Rukia is asked to bring back the empty wrappers when she returns to the centre a week later. Out of Rukia's 5 kids, 3 are malnourished. Although the compact food is prescribed only for Zarmina, the other kids are hungry and also eat the biscuits. Rukia, along with hundreds of thousands of displaced families, is bearing the impact of the continuing conflict.
We lived near the airport, so we had to flee, and we didn't have enough to eat.
Rukia's husband is employed in the army, but does not earn enough to feed a big family. They've permission to live in this cramped apartment, but only temporarily. The tale of other mothers and their babies is the same. Fajima brings her youngest, Omide, to the clinic. Aside from being malnourished, Omide suffers from diarrhea.
I use 1 pack of rehydration salt in 1 liter of boiled water.
In addition to health centres, UNICEF's humanitarian assistance in Afghanistan focuses on communities most severely affected by the fighting. It's helping rebuild infrastructures such as water, health and education. UNICEF Communication Officer Jeremy Hartley.
The government has been left with virtually no infrastructure with which to work. It has very little income. It is unable to provide the social services, the safety net, the social safety net for vulnerable groups.
The relief activities of UNICEF and other agencies have barely scratched the surface of the immense needs of the Afghan people. At most risk, as in all conflicts around the world, the women and children. Bread is a staple in Afghanistan, but the years of civil war have made food, including bread, scarce. To make matters worse, another calamity threatens the nation's wheat fields. This is Mazar province, one of the regions that form the country's bread basket. Since the spring of 1995, wheat crops here have been hit by locust infestation. Dense hopper bands are evidence of the scale of the problem. They leave devastated wheat fields in their wake. With very limited resources for combating the epidemic, these farmers are at a loss as to what to do. Nur Mohammed owns 10 hectares of land in Mazar. Here he grows barley, flax, as well as wheat.
My crop yield is very much reduced because of flooding and the locust plague.
The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, is helping farmers control the infestation. Field workers concentrate on large desert areas where the locusts breed, lay eggs, hatch and feed. The aim is to stop them forming the hopper bands that invade crops. As soon as egg-laying areas are found, they're marked with heaps of sand. This helps identify the locust band when the farmers are ready to spray. Handheld sprayers contain ULV chemicals which produce very small droplets. The manual method is quite slow, covering 90 meters per minute in a swathe of just 10 meters. As soon as some locusts die, it seems even more are hatched and ready to invade. A faster and more effective method is the truck-mounted sprayer. Compared to a man on foot, it can cover 6 times the area in a similar time. But there are only 2 trucks available at the present. Aerial spraying is out of the question because aircraft might be shot down by military factions. FAO Field Operations Manager Husseini Sher Hassan.
We have very limited resources, and with these resources we will unable to control the locusts in the large area.
About 1,200 hectares have been sprayed, but there are 30,000 more hectares still affected in Afghanistan. Unless more money is forthcoming from the international community, more damage will be inflicted on the wheat fields of a country already reeling from man-made disasters.
Iqbal, a widow, is enjoying a second chance in life. With her 8 children, she had fled the fighting in Kabul, Afghanistan's capital. She ended up in Mazar Sharif, in the northern part of the country. Now she's teaching carpet weaving in a community center set up with help from the UN Habitat. The UN and other agencies are trying to rehabilitate the devastated areas of Mazar. But repairing physical war damage is just a small part of this work. Consulting with the local communities is vital to ensure that the activity continues even when the agencies pull out. In Ul-Marab, where more than 700 families live, Samantha and Rahala, representing UN Habitat, are talking to the elders on the best way to provide clean water supply. Right now, this open surface water is used for washing clothes, for bathing, and as a source of drinking water. There's a deep well, but it cannot supply piped water to every household, which the elders want it to do. These and other health problems are being sorted out by dialogue with the Shura, says Samantha Reynolds.
A lot of the process is a process of consultation. Their understanding on one side, our understanding on another side. A lot of misperceptions about Water Department, a lot of misperceptions about different UN agencies and expectations. But now that we have 3 weekly meetings, now that we have a notice board to discuss things through, there is at least a process of information sharing.
In time, trust has been built to pave the way for the Shura to permit women to participate in community activities. This center represents a breakthrough for women in Ul-Marab. For cultural reasons, most Afghan women have to wear the chador, a head-to-toe veil, when they venture outside. The UN has convinced the male elders that women can offer practical solutions to community problems. The women themselves found this house to use as a regular meeting place. With UN seed money, the women have started a revolving fund from which they take out loans to start projects. Iqbal is one of the recipients.
The center helps people, especially those who've been displaced by the war, like me, who have skills but lack the capital to set up a business.
Repayment of loans increases the fund so that more community services are planned. A kindergarten class is being discussed at this meeting. There's an overflow of people. Both the shy and the curious try to follow the discussion from the windows. A bulletin board is a vital source of information. It also provides a good excuse to lift the confining barrier of the veil, even for a few minutes. The second floor hums with activity. Since there is no creche, baby has to be with mother in the sewing machine room. Sometimes work has to be interrupted by pressing maternal chores. The design for the deep well has been agreed on. Soon, clean water will be available. Providing housing and infrastructural needs in urban areas will be addressed at a UN City Summit conference in Turkey in June 1996. This has been a report from the United Nations.